Okay, so in today's video, I'm just going to discuss reasons why you could be training hard in the gym, but just not seeing the strength and muscle gains that you're after. So one topic that I won't discuss in today's video is genetics. Unfortunately, you can't do a lot about the genetics that you have, but the things that you can change are your training program and your diet. Okay, so the first thing I'll discuss is only training each muscle group once per week. So what a lot of trainees like to do is they like to train chest on Monday, back on Tuesday, Wednesday off. They like to train legs on Thursday and arms and shoulders on Friday. So that's all fine. What I do like to do is I like to train my clients each muscle group twice per week. So if you still want to have a 4-day split program, that's fine. What you can do is you just need to combine a couple of the sessions together. So for example, on the Monday, instead of doing just chest, you can do chest, back and arms as a combination workout. Tuesday you can still do legs, Wednesday off, Thursday chest, back and arms again, and then on Friday another leg session. So what that allows you to do is you can then use different rep ranges within those sessions. So for example, the session earlier in the week could be higher rep ranges, and the sessions later in the week could be lower rep ranges. Okay, so in terms of sets and reps, this is now leads me to the next topic. So a lot of trainees fall in love with using the same amount of sets and reps. For example, 3x12, when I worked in a commercial gym, everybody used 3 sets of 12 reps religiously. So when you're using the same rep range, you do become efficient at working within that set rep range. So you're no longer applying the same amount of stress and tension that you need on your muscles in order to force the strength and muscle gains that you're after. As I mentioned in previous videos, in order to build muscle and strength, you need to stress your muscles enough in order to force change in terms of both growth and strength. So what I like to do is vary your rep ranges. So for example, you might want to work in one session, say rep ranges say 10 to 12, and then lower rep ranges say 4 to 6. And then vary that as you progress through your training program. If, for example, you're taking, say, a 6-week period of training, what you could do is divide it up into separate 2-week training blocks. So for example, weeks 1 and 2 you could be doing 8 reps, weeks 3 and 4 could be 10 reps, then weeks 5 and 6 could be 12 rep max. And while you're progressing through that 6-week period, you're gradually trying to increase the weight that you're lifting in each session. Okay, so another problem that a lot of trainees have is they get stuck on the same weight on the same exercise for a long period of time. So one solution you might want to try with this is dropping the amount of reps that you're doing down and then increasing the weight that way. So for example, if you've been stuck on, say, 10 rep max for a long period of time, try dropping down to 6 or 8 reps and then increasing the weight that way. Another solution might be staying on the same amount of reps that you're using, the same weight that you're using, and then increasing the amount of reps that you're doing. Okay, so another problem that a lot of trainees have is that they do the same variation of the same exercise week in, week out, or month in, month out. So for example, if you've been doing a narrow grip lat pull down, you can then change that up to doing, say, a reverse grip or a wide grip lat pull down instead. Squats, you might want to change that from a regular barbell back squat to a barbell front squat, or using a split squat variation. For deadlifts, if you've been doing conventional deadlifts for a period of time, you might then want to try using a trap bar deadlift or Romanian deadlifts or sumo deadlifts. And then for a bench press, again, if you've been doing a regular flat barbell bench press, you can increase the angle or decrease the angle that you're using, or you might want to switch up to using dumbbells instead. Okay, so the next topic I want to discuss is tracking volume. So a lot of people do not track the sets and the reps and the weights that they're lifting. So just for your own knowledge, training volume equals sets times reps times weight, which will give you a total volume amount in kilograms or pounds, whatever you're used to using. So the best way for you to track your progress is to monitor the sets and the reps and the weight that you're lifting for each exercise. You then gradually want to aim to increase the total amount of training volume that you're doing with each exercise over a period of time. So training periodization is a whole topic in itself, which I won't go into too much detail here, but just to give you an idea, if we were to take a 3-month or a 12-week training block, to give you an example, what I would do is from weeks 1 to 5, you would gradually increase the amount of training volume in total amount of kilos that you're doing with each exercise over those first 5 weeks. On week 6, you would then have a deload week, which is basically reducing the amount of weight that you're lifting for that week. It's not a week off, it's just a lighter training week to let yourself recover. And then again, from week 7 to 12, you're again ramping up the training volume that you're doing over those final weeks of that 3-month or that 12-week training period. So another issue that trainees can have is that their training intensity is not quite hard enough. So what I mean by intensity, I'll give you an example. So what I do with clients, at the end of a set, I will ask them how hard that exercise was or that set was out of 10. So if I get an answer of 9 out of 10 that exercise or that weight is probably hard enough, but if I get a response of around a 6 or a 7 out of 10, then we need to increase the weight that we're lifting. Another easy way you can do it is reps in reserve. So for example, if you're doing a set and you get to rep 10 and you can do 11, 12, 13, then you need to increase the weight that you're lifting. However, if you get to the end of a set and you could do maybe one more rep, then the weight on that exercise is probably sufficient. So again, it just shows the importance of tracking the weights that you're lifting with each session, as it is easier to use that as a reference point for future training sessions. Okay, so regarding diet, this is a whole subject for another video, but just briefly, regarding your diet, you do want to make sure that you are eating at a calorie surplus. So what I mean by calorie surplus is that you're eating above your base metabolic rate, including taking into consideration the amount of training that you're doing. So when you're doing intense resistance training, this does result in muscle breakdown. So your diet will help, or your food intake will help repair the muscle damage that's occurred. You also want to make sure that you do have adequate protein intake. A lot of studies have shown that around 2 grams per kilo of body weight is usually sufficient for adding lean muscle when you are weight training. Okay, so there's a few tips that are provided. There's a lot more that I could expand on, which I will do in later videos, but what I do for my online and face-to-face clients is put together a training and nutrition program that is based on your body composition goals and also takes into consideration your dieting history and your training history. So if you are interested, I've got links in the description below for both face-to-face and online PT. If you do want more information, you can email me info@nickhallbodytransformations.com, or you can DM me on Instagram. Thanks.